Hey everybody, Assalamu alaikum. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the notify button so you know when you're getting new episodes. And we just want to grow this project. I thank you in advance. Without further ado, let's get it rolling. The Shout Out Show. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuh, family. How are you doing? How are you feeling? You made another Friday, and I think that's so important. You know, we have so many things to give thanks for. Friday is still the month of Dhul Hijjah. I mean, we're kicking it. We're kicking it. We're going to make this thing happen. I thought of the title today, man, because I'm thinking, sometimes we don't appreciate all the funny things that's happened in our lives. Like for myself, being a comedian is a profession. That's my job. That's my vocation. That's my passion. But you know what makes you funny as a comedian? Remember all of the things that made you laugh. All the things that made you laugh. And I mean, before this whole idea of political correctness, Me Too, Black Lives Matter, I'm talking about just the everyday things that made you laugh. I remember my first year teaching, I had a kid in my class. Okay, here's the deal. I bought these shirts. Okay, and I bought them for a Latino fella out of the back of a van. And these shirts were white shirts. I mean, they were the whitest shirts I've ever seen. I don't know what he bleached them in, but they were the whitest shirts ever. And they were real clean and crisp. And I remember he was selling them for like $2, $3. So I'm like, they're probably stolen or he got them from a funeral home. However, beggars can't be choosers. I'm a broke teacher. So I bought like 10 of these shirts for like $25. I'm balling. I show up to the first day of class and people, I've got my white shirt on, which I pressed, by the way. I have my white shirt on. I have on this skinny black tie, and I'm trying to impress upon these children that I'm going to be your educational savior for this year. And a kid looked at me and he looked at the other kids. He said, damn, he said, we got a freedom rider for a teacher. He called me a freedom rider. And I was hurt. And he called me freedom rider for the first week. And then one day, God bless, Allah blessed me to snap out of that fog and let him know how I really felt. And when he said, Mr. Mars looked like a freedom rider, I looked at him and said, yeah, and your shirt looks like your mama washed your shirt in hot dog water. Sometimes you gotta say what's on your heart. Now, I'm not being mean, folks, but sometimes we gotta snap out of it. This whole COVID thing is gonna be around for a minute, but let's make the best opportunities of it. Let's have a good time. Think about it. Here in the United States, people are trying to do different things different ways. It's funny that even with COVID, even with unemployment, people are still trying to hold on to their God-given vices. The things that tear them down, the things that make them immoral, they're still holding on. Do you know in Portland, in Houston, they now have, talk about keeping the adult entertainment business in business, they now have drive-through strip clubs. Now, I'm not making this up. Allah's my witness. Drive-through strip clubs. Do you know how ridiculous this is? Have you ever gone through a McDonald's or Burger King drive-through and recognized how weird that is? Can you imagine now that you have drive-through strip shows? And the crazy part about it, folks, is they hype the shows by saying, check it out, all the entertainers have on appropriate PPE. Appropriate PPE. You got to be out of your mind. And all I'm saying is, this is what people think of. This is what goes on in people's minds. And it reminds me, life is not as bad as you think it is. Sometimes you just got to flip the script. Sometimes you just got to be creative. Like one time, I was in a situation whereby this is old school. This is before you had all the apps and you barely had the internet. I don't even think we had the internet back then. As a young comedian, I would get gigs and I would have to drive long distances to get gigs. But also, I was a young Muslim trying to stay on my deen. And I don't know if this ever happened to you folks, but it happened to me. I'm stuck and I'm working at this place called Mark Wrigley's Comedy Castle. It was in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Now I'm going to tell you something about Fort Wayne, Indiana. First of all, it's a stone's throw from the Klan spot. That's number one. Number two was in Fort Wayne, I didn't know any Muslims. I didn't know any Muslims. So when it got to be Friday, my routine was, this is important. I didn't know that there was a travel exemption for Juma. When you travel, you didn't have to necessarily attend Juma. I didn't know that. I thought Juma was like fart, like you gotta go, you gotta go. There's no missing Juma. That's the way I was for almost 8 years. It's a true story. So here I am trying to get to a masjid. There are none in Fort Wayne that I know of. Remember, there's no apps, there's no Islamic Finder, any stuff like that. So I basically go through a Yellow Pages and find that there's a Juma going on at this place called, at the time it was Tri-State University in Indiana. It was in Kokomo. Now here's the problem, people. Kokomo from Fort Wayne, Indiana, guess what? It's like 70 miles, over 70 miles back. So I drive over to Kokomo. And I'm thinking, if I could just get here, I'll figure it out. Now, brothers and sisters, this is old school. This is when you showed up to a place and you would sit in the parking lot and you would hope, by chance, Allah will bless you with somebody who's walking around with some Islamic garb or maybe using the words Assalamu alaikum or some kind of broken Arabic. So there I was, people, at Tri-State University in Kokomo trying to find Muslims. I get out of the car and I'm like looking around and I get blessed. You know why? Because I see a brother with a kufi. Now, he could have been having on a kufi going to rob a bank. But I'm like, if he's going to rob a bank, doggone it, I hope it's an Islamic bank and they're having Juma there. So I followed this brother and we all go up into this spot. We get there and everybody's sitting around. Like everyone is sitting around, standing around. I'm like, wow, this is okay, cool. I'm like, alhamdulillah. That's one of my few words back then. Alhamdulillah, I am here for Juma and I don't know anybody. So everybody's standing around. I'm like, well, it's getting kind of late. And then remember, I got to drive 70 miles back to my gig. And I'm like, it's getting kind of late. And I'm like, what's going on? So what happened is the khatib for that day never showed. And this is the back in the day. You didn't really have cell phones or anything like that. So he didn't show up. Nobody knew he wasn't going to come. So we're sitting there, 10 minutes into the game on Juma. Nobody knows what's going to. And then it occurs to me, everybody there is a new Muslim. You hear what I'm saying? A new Muslim. I'm talking wet behind the ears, new Muslim brothers and sisters. Now, here's the deal. We're so shook that nobody's ever really learned how to do a khutbah because we're all new in the game. We're new fish, if you will. We decided that, listen, we got to do something because we gather here, it's Friday. We don't want to waste this time. So we decided we're going to draw straws and see who's going to be the khatib. True story. And we're sitting here breaking up straws. Everybody drew a straw. Guess who draws the long straw? Yep, yours truly. Can you imagine Preacher Miles having to give a khutbah and I'm a new Muslim? So I get there, and this was my khutbah, folks. I looked at him, and I was like, all right, everybody. Here's the deal. I'm not your normal khatib, so I want to keep this within the bounds of Islam, and I don't want to say anything wrong, and I want to say the right thing. So I literally goes, here's the deal. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I go through Surah Fatiha because I knew that much. And I say, hey, listen, here's the deal. Be good. Till next week. Try not to sin and hold it down till you get a regular khatib. That was my Juma. And I'm like, it was so simple then. And I'm looking back. I'm like, that Juma could have worked at a lot of places. People that know me, I was like, hey, preacher, how you doing? What do I say? Allah is God, keep it simple. You know what? I learned that from a brother. He wasn't a khatib. I've been saying it for over 30 some years. Allah is God, keep it simple. And when you start thinking about it, folks, think of the wonders of this religion. Think of the wonders of understanding that creation is not about you. You're just here to enjoy it and learn from it. I mean, some of the things I've learned as a Muslim have been interesting to say the least, intriguing, and definitely, engaging. But you know what? I miss certain things. I do miss certain things. Our first time I ever showed up to Juma, uh, believe me, I'm a Christian. I didn't know that Muslims didn't have choirs. I thought they had choirs. I'm sitting up here thinking we're gonna have a revival. Nope. It was just a brother standing on a porch. I didn't know it was a minbar. I just thought it was somebody's front porch. I was like, oh, they got props. Maybe they're gonna shoot this dude. So I mean, I'm thinking of this thing, brothers and sisters. I don't mean to be funny, but the simplicity of the masjid is cool because I'm not gonna lie. The first time I went in, the first thought of mine was, Jesus, where are the chairs? I'm like, Prophet Muhammad didn't believe in chairs. What's going on? And then I realized that the chairs that are there, they're not for you, brothers and sisters. The chairs are for what I call the jury. The jury are elderly brothers and sisters who do not sit on the floor anymore, and the average age is about 122. So do not make the mistake of sitting with the jury because they will shame you into leaving. What's my point, brothers and sisters? My point is, it's all these things that I say. Sometimes you gotta laugh to keep from crying, and sometimes for me, I gotta laugh just to keep from laughing way too hard. Look at what's going on in the world. Look at what's going on in the world. COVID produced one of the first, and we're now having a national shortage of coins, if you know that. A national shortage of coins. And I guess with these drive-through strip clubs, we might have a national shortage of ones. Stay tuned. I mean, people don't get this stuff, man. But you know what? This was the first time I've actually had someone call me up and ask from a deep personal place, hey, brother, do you have toilet paper? Y'all remember when COVID? Now, I'm just telling you because, Allah's going to work things out. But you remember the run on toilet paper back when COVID first started? Man, if I was a dishonest man, I could have made a killing on selling toilet paper. Let me welcome some brothers in here. Now, Altaf Rashid, what's going on, brother? Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I don't have a Khatib license, brother. They chased me out of there. I had to do another khutbah in New Jersey, and it was a tough audience, man, tough audience. But they roll with me because sometimes when you're talking, you got to realize who you're talking to. Like they're I find this happens a lot, and I'm gonna speak about it. Look, if I come to your masjid and you're the imam and you're doing the khatib, please do not think that because I'm there, you can tell jokes. Muslim imams are very emotional, they're spiritual leaders, but some of them are the worst joke tellers in the world. You guys heard this joke before. I'm sitting here. I'm in what is it? Wichita, Kansas. Wichita, Kansas. And the man comes up to me. Now he knows that I'm a comedian, so he takes this opportunity to think that he could test his jokes on me. I'm like, look, I'm trying to get my spirit together. You're not helping me. He doesn't care. He goes, Preacher Moss. Now, I knew the Arab brother because he couldn't say the P. So it wasn't preacher, it was breacher. Do you know how bad that sounds when somebody calls you breacher instead of preacher? Breacher moose. Breacher. I was like, okay, brother. And he tells this joke. He goes, listen to me. There was a duck and a chicken. Or a chicken and a duck, I don't know. He said, there was a duck and a chicken, I don't know. Did anyone see duck? Okay, listen. There was a duck and a chicken. They wanted to cross the road. They went to the middle of the road. They came back. They went to the middle of the road. They came back. They went to the middle of the road. They got run over by a truck. Mashallah, the driver of the truck was a Muslim. Alhamdulillah, they both died halal. I'm like, you can't do that, man. You can't tell jokes like that. But he tells jokes like that anyway. And I find over years, imams have gotten better telling jokes. I'm not saying they're expert, but they've gotten better. And it loosens up the mood. It does, just a little bit. I mean, have you ever been we did a joke one time on it, imam, and I'm not going to say who it is because he might get upset. But for the fun of it, we took the batteries out of the microphone pack. That's the last time you messed around Juma on April Fool's Day. Well, we had the batteries, but it was funny because we just wanted to see what he's going to do. All right. And the funny part is, I don't know. He handled it. He just started yelling. And eventually we gave him the batteries back in about 10 minutes. But it was just funny to hear him yell a kutba and yell Surah Fatiha. It was like, it's magic. It's magic. And he's like, why do you do that? He said, we were trying to make sure you went back to the authentic times of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. And he thought about it. He's like, oh, that's true. But you know what? I've been to some masjids and some strange stuff has happened. And I think if you go to masjid and you're from another cultural identity, of course, Juma is going to have the same format. But if you're going to stick in some cultural nuances, you need to let a brother know. You see what I'm saying? Just let a brother know. I was in this one masjid, and I won't say where it was, but I'm going to say, and let me give Sister Satana a shout out. Sister Satana, stay to the end of the program. Everybody, stay to the end of the program. We have an outro in the program. I want to get your opinion on an ad that I made for our sponsor, one of our sponsors, Tarif Atur. And I'm going to tell everybody, if anybody wants to email me, hit me at permissiblelaughter@gmail.com. The first 2 people that hit me up, I'm going to give you some kind of a prize. I'm going to get you some perfume from my sponsor. Okay? So, yeah, I went to this masjid, and I knew it was going to be a problem for me because nobody spoke English or nobody had been practicing speaking English. And I'm like, that's your thing. I'm visiting, do your thing, right? So I'm waiting for the brother, and I'm like, I might be able to catch a few words here. I'm not an Arabic scholar, you know what I mean? I could tell when you're upset with me, and I could tell when you're trying to make a point. That's the basis of my Arabic. If I ever taught a class, I would just teach all the curse words. Make sure you're not getting cussed out, and keep it moving. So here I am at this Juma, and this is where it gets weird. The brother walks up, and first of all, he had the sound system stapled to the wall. When I say staple, I mean stapled to the wall. Okay, and he was sitting there, and he started to speak, and he wasn't happy with the microphone, so he hit a switch. He hit a switch, and it kicked in the weirdest echo in the world. I'm like, dude, we're in Toledo, and I'm sorry. I'm like, we're in Toledo. We can't do this. And I'm just sitting here laughing. And the brother's like, yo, he's like, Salaam alaikum, Salaam alaikum, Salaam alaikum, Salaam alaikum, Salaam alaikum. Alhamdulillah, 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 alhamdulillah. I was like, we had echo on for yo, like, I'm sorry. 15 minutes, I almost left. I was waiting for Assalamu alaikum, alaikum assalam, wa rahmatullah, wa rahmatullah. I was like, yo, you can't do that. And then I realized, he's trying to, I guess replicate the cave. But dude, we in the strip mall. Back to my point. That's right, Doug. I hooked it up, baby. I surprised you. Look at Doug. Ooh, 2 cameras. No, this is ghetto studio, bro. Don't call me. You ruined the camera. Don't call. I would give a shout out. Doug Robinson, everybody, is my sound guy. And when I say my sound guy, he's a sound guy extraordinaire, meaning that he did the sound for my upcoming CD that will be released after Eid, inshallah, called Confessions of a Muslim Comedian. And he saved the sound on my comedy special, Love Supreme, Anatomy of Gratitude. Big ups to Doug, because Doug has done some great work. And so I have just a few things, man. And let me try and bring this back. When for those who were born Muslim, this won't apply to you. But for those of you who converted to Islam, I want you to think so hard, and it's okay to laugh. Yo, think about how hard you tried to be a model Muslim for the first 2 weeks of your Muslim experience, and how you almost killed yourself. Because you wanted to be perfect. And nobody told you in this religion, nobody's perfect, but you try to be perfect. I remember going to the masjid, and this is when I found out, though prayer time, Fajr may come in at 4:15 in the morning. Don't count on people being there at 4:15 in the morning. They show up a little bit later, like 4:50. And that's real talk. You know, the first thing, like going to Juma and realizing that 1:30 doesn't really mean 1:30. 1:30 could mean 1:40. It could be 1:45. And everybody wants to sell you something. That's the one thing I have to say when you're a new Muslim. Everybody wants to sell you something. You want to sell your book, you want to sell your kufi, you are a mark. I had a brother, I won't say where he is, at my home mosque. He's been selling oil for over 30 years, but he's been selling the same oil. I don't think he sold out all of the oil in the last 30 years. And he would put the oil on you without your permission. It was like I felt like I was getting physically violated. Like he was like, "You want some of this, brother?" I was like, "No." He said, "Come on, try some." No, and I turned away, and he put some on me. And I'm like, "Brother, I told you I didn't want the oil." And people, it was the worst smelling oil I've ever had. Like you haven't put some oil on that's so bad that you just put on other oil. This oil smelled so strong. I felt like a Jiffy Lube tune-up. That's what I felt like. A Jiffy Lube tune-up. And the brother never took a hint. But I love that brother. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because he's there every Friday. Not so much to sell oil, he sells that, but I dedicate it. I'm always appreciative of the dedication that the brother had when he was trying to come to the match and sell stuff. Because it's really important to understand, brothers and sisters, that the economy of the Muslims is very, very important. That idea of selling incense, that idea of selling oils, that idea of selling fish sandwiches, that comes from a very special place going back into the 60s, 50s, 40s, and 30s. I'm talking about the Nation of Islam, but I'm talking about Black independence and Black entrepreneurship. And it was the most beautiful thing in the world. And I get that, man. I miss that a little bit, and I get that. But you know what? It's funny because we'll try and sell you anything. There's always the brother at the masjid trying to sell the Muslim Journal. Make sure before you buy that Muslim Journal, brothers and sisters, before you buy it, listen to me carefully. Make sure that you check the date because there's a conspiracy in the Muslim community, in the African American Muslim community, that you have brothers that will sell you Muslim journals, but it won't be for the week you thinking. I had a Muslim journal, brother sold me a Muslim journal. It was 2018. The one he sold me was like from 2007. I was like, "You selling antique, brothers?" I mean, literally. And the bean pies. Okay, now here's the deal. Thank you, Satana. Here's the deal about bean pies. Everybody can't make a good bean pie. Everybody can't make a good pie. And everybody can't definitely make a good bean pie. Now, there's some people who are smart enough to go buy the bean pies in mass and then bring to the mass shit to sell them. That's cool. But then there are the people who dare a convention and decide to make their own bean pies. It's a talent. It's a skill. You just can't do it because you want to do it. You got to know something. You got to know some things. You got to figure out the beans and the combination and the smells and the cooking. Some people don't. I feel like Bill Cosby. You know, I was doing that. And if you want to make a bean pie, you got that, right? Bean. All right, back. That'd be funny if Bill Cosby judged a bean pie contest. Okay, I'm going to tell you about the beans that you never did the beans. And big shout out to Bill Cosby. Yeah, you know, he got in some trouble, but I'm not one of those people that's like two-faced. Like, oh, he's so bad. Hey, man, things happen. But I'm gonna tell you something. Bill Cosby during this time did some amazing stuff. He did a lot of philanthropic stuff. I remember Fisk University giving him $1 million. Nobody was giving him $1 million. You know, and I remember meeting Bill Cosby, and it was actually during well, it was Bill Cosby, it was Dick Gregory, and we were all marshals. We had our arms locked. Second march on Washington, I don't know, back in the 80s or something like that. And the guy said, "Hold on." He was so nice. He was so nice. Now, people change, situations change. You know, I'm not perfect, but I'm close. All right, but All I want to say on this particular program is sometimes you have to laugh to keep from crying. COVID will come and go, economy will come and go, jobs will come and go, and hopefully, inshallah, this president will come. And he's here now, but he'll definitely go. My point is this, brothers and sisters, we have to have it upon ourselves that we're gonna make sure our quality of life is something that we enjoy, and more importantly, it's something like we're willing to fight for. So on this day, Friday, we have this Friday during the month of Dhul Hijjah, and next Friday during the month of Dhul Hijjah. You have 2 months for people that are trying to get the life straight. Listen, man, fast on those couple of days that is prescribed, and then that in between, understand that it's okay. It's okay to just feel okay. It's okay to enjoy and have some times, but you know what? Don't let it get you down. All right. So I'm getting ready to get out here. I want you guys to check out my ad. Here we go. Hey everybody, this is your brother Preacher Moss. Listen, I hope that you enjoyed your shout out show experience. We'll be back with the next show, the next shout out show. Simple ask before you go, please help your brother out. Click that subscribe button, click that notify button, and I'll see you again on this side of the microphone. You probably wonder what that smell is. That's me. I smell good. And the reason I smell good is because I use oils from Tarifa Tar. So I'm not saying you can't smell good. I'm not even saying you stink. I'm saying you have the opportunity to smell exquisite. Check out tarifatar.com for some of the best oils and scents in town.